Hi everyone, today this video will be about how to become smarter, how to develop the way that our brain works in order to getting better and obviously performing better in what you want brain to work, in jobs. What do you have to understand? If you want to make our brain better, we have to understand that our brain to be better, he has to work in majority of two things: understand better the world, so having the ability to connect or to get better data than the other ones that you want to be smarter and so be more productive. And so that's why being smarter is something that tends to motivate people to work and to make actions. We have to understand that we have to get the better ability to get better data. It's what we should work first, and then obviously having good models to work good, obviously working good the data that we collect from the world. First of all, is useful, and it's not something that is highly correlated with having the ability to kind of be smarter, but it's something that is needed to be. You have to get good data. You don't have like to fall in fake news. So it's obviously something that gonna potentialize the way that your brain can so work with information that you can get. And so work if you want to get smarter, to be productive, we have a need to get good data. And obviously not just the good data is useful, but as well the rate that I'm got fully fied with the data. So I want good data. And good data getting collected by science is the better thing that we have is collecting data from science. And now that we are is so useful for us the emergence of EAs, we can use them in our favor. We can use and can say what science seems and backs so to what is truth. And obviously, if we want to do the action of becoming smarter, we can use these EAs to being smarter. And what seems to science say that is useful to getting smarter? One of the things that's important that's like correlated with the majority of the health, that is exercise. Seems to be that exercise, if it's done by people, it seems to generate neurogenesis, and neurogenesis is like creations on new brain cells in the brain. And by neurons, when you create more neurons, we have more material which our brain can think, so more deep and more type of connectors we can have, because by increasing what's going to create these connections that are neurons, so more connections, more kind of deep, more longer will be our networks. And we have seen a pattern that is really important to understand intelligence. That is, we tend to become smarter, an animal tends to become smarter if more connections tends to exist between the neural the neurons than the brain of that animal has. And so why is important having connections in our brain? And what are connections? Connections tends to be triggered by the need and environment kind of seems to put in us to our brain try to grasp what this is by having connections to grasp the information. So that's why important getting stimulated. It's why so important getting stimulation. Not too much, but not so low too. And what stimulates our brain? What gives work to give information to process and grasp them and rearranging the way that the brain is what we call neuroplasticity, the ability to learn. And learning is something that's connected with smarter. So people tends to be smarter, which more they're able to make their brain having the ability to make connections and to tend to have connections by and have more connections, so ability to learn more, and what they learn having the ability to grasp during more time is having more neurons. And what seems to create more neurons doesn't damaging the ones that we have. So one of the other things that's useful to be smart, don't make some what we call as brain damage, falling, so having care which in the A5s get hurt during physical exercises, but doing physical exercises mainly cardio, seems so to get more blood flow, and blood flow tends to trigger more and increase the rate of neurogenesis in our brain. Other things so that is important is stimulating, because you just cannot create neurons if we don't use it. And exists a phenomenon in our brain that if we tend to not to use, our brain sense and perceives so that it's not something is not useful, it's not gonna have like a good perpetuation so in our lifetime, so it's gonna cut. And so that's why if we want to end like a brain with a good ability, we have to train him. And obviously training, solving problems, it's important to solve problems, solving problems. And if you want to be productive, and if you want to master a specific area, what so you can have activity that has high leverage, solving problems that are in count with your area. So if you want to perform in area of engineering, imagine that you want to perform in engineering and of computers, of that's new technologies, will be important so to get problems to solve in your area that obviously increases information that your brain has about the area, but obviously is what we can talk that coming from our learnings, you want something that's abstract and can be used in other type of areas that you want to learn. People that are kind of good learners in some area, they tend to be good in other ones if they grasp what we call and or what I can call as mental models. And what's our mental models? Mental models are like representations of see the world and are things that applied. If I can grasp from a area, I can use in a other in order to perform as well in other area. So all this can be introduced in the reality. One type of mental models that you can use and you can take, they can come, for example, if I study economy. If I study economy, I understand that I learn a lot of formulas and stuffs, but what I take laws. What are these laws? Laws of supply demand. We can take laws of comparative advantages that companies tends to have, or economies tends to have, that defines so what are the ones that leads the commerce in the world, and so tends to export to other countries and make profits, and having so obviously a good balance. We have as well the concepts of trade-offs. Sometimes in a system, to be good in something, I have to sacrifice in being worse in doing other thing. And so these type of mental models, other models that like supply demand, are things that supply demand, but they're aggregate in the economy. So basically, is mental models that I can use and can help me to be smart in other areas, because our knowledge that are applied in other areas. Because supply demand can be something that me as a smart people, if I know these models, if I want so and I get applied in my area, and as my area can be so the one that I have been saying, working as an engineer in computers, I say that so supply demand make me smarter to understand probably so what's the area in engineer of computers that I want to perform. And if I understand supply demand, what economy and what I've been studying economy seems to say. And my brain has grasped, have to make connection, and now I'm arranging to do in action is another step that makes me smarter. Ability to grasp the information, ability to apply them. And what's so the ability to apply them, and so why it's useful? Using an example, I have to apply supply demand to decide so is that I'm gonna get specialized in the specific one that I want to perform. Because supply demand is gonna have to see that in my area, what are like the first principles? Another mental model, in that one taken from one of the highest experts in the area of engineer, Elon Musk, that says that we always have to see the first principles things to think critically. First principles, why I'm working in my area, because I like the things, and I want to obviously connect this with receiving money. Applying supply demand I take from economy, I understand that which more something tends to have of demand in comparison with the offering, more so something is going to be perceived as useful. Scarcity tends to be perceived and tends to increase the value of something. So if I'm smart, what I should look to do in my action, and so be intelligent, I should look for areas that I can work on, that I can have a comparative advantages. Now again, taking a mental model that I have learned in other area and other different than me, that is comparative advantages. People tend to perform and specialize in what it tends to be good than the other ones, whether it's because they like and so do, whether because if by being better they receive get a better outcome if they do other thing. But apply my area, what I can do, I can look for comparative advantages, what I'm better than the other ones, what's the area that I do like, what's the area that is, we're gonna have like a high demand in comparison it seems that is the offer, and so establishing good projections of benefits for me. So being a decision, mental models, learnings, people tends to be smarter are the ones as well that have a good decision making. And decision making is by getting knowledge, information from the world. And how we get information? Ability, and just by getting stimulated. But what I can take it and how I take in this knowledge by studying and applying them. That's other concept. And that's why knowledge multiplied by application is what gives a power, and so building the image of the others how smart someone is, because you just cannot like have the ability to study if you not apply in real life, right? So it's a simple concept, how to become smarter, doing what? Ability to learn, having the ability to our brain stimulate. What it stimulates? Having more neurons, do more connections, neurogenesis, and not damaging the ones that I have. So taking care, having good nutrition, don't obviously by having the like in my eating things that doesn't do well for my brain, toxins that obviously are not useful, doing the basis of the health, and obviously stimulated, get knowledge of other areas, and you don't need to, and you not have like to get them hard. You can ask for ChatGPT and other type of intelligence, and you can ask for what are the mental models like things, the concepts of the different areas of knowledge, physics, law, physics, biology, any type of knowledges that can be taken in abstract concepts that you can use in your area that are like so knowledges that your intelligence, the artificial intelligence, already have done the work for you, and so they give it to you in order so to you just have the ability now to express your intelligence by knowing how to apply these knowledges that you can take, and so are ones that's going to determine how successful you're going to be in your area. That's why it's so smart to do these decisions. I hope these videos help you to understand why so people tends to be successful, and you cannot underestimate how important and how useful AEA can do. You cannot underestimate the basis of the health, exercise, neurogenesis, exposition to study, 3 simple concepts that makes you smarter, and just to not have like to build a magical formula to be so. So peace for everyone, see the other videos that you're gonna get other insights, and have a nice one.